Welcome to Board Game Homies, where a group of friends play, review, and share about all things board games. Sitting around the table today are
Reed, Becky,
Gillian,
and I'm Angela. Today we'll be reviewing Finspan, aka fish eggs, give me those squishy fish eggs. But first, what's bringing you joy?
I'm excited about the Guild of Merchant Explorers, and I want to be fully transparent. That is the first time I have said the name correctly. We recently went to the coast for a board game weekend, and Gillian and I watched the video of how to play it, and then we brought it with us. We haven't played it yet. And the whole weekend I was like, oh, we should play this game, and we always ended up not playing it. And I would say, like, the Merchant Guild game, the Guild Merchant game, the game we watched the video for. So I got the name right because I wrote it down. But I'm super excited about it. It's like a flip and write, except there's no writing. Everyone has their own board. You flip the cards, and then everyone uses those to put things on their boards as if they were writing on them.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize the game played like that. That's actually really exciting.
It is.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, that's more interesting than some dry Euro that I thought it was.
No, the name is awful.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
I'm actually a huge fan of the art there. It is kind of beige-ish, but I just love the, not iconography, but just how the mountains are drawn, and just the artist did an amazing job. That's my style of art that I really enjoy. That's part of the reason that drew. The cover doesn't do it much justice, but the maps themselves are very beautiful.
Well, many months ago, we invested a lot of time in playing Root, and I've been thinking about it and thinking that I would like to play it again because we did make such a good effort to learn the different characters, and we had kind of dangled a play in front of us a couple times recently, so I'm hoping we get it to the table.
Yeah, I'm excited to get that to the table too, and since then I ended up buying an expansion, mainly to appease Reed. It has the lizard cult in it, which is a faction that I think she wanted in particular. Not that I didn't want it either, but so I'm looking forward to getting that to the table as well.
I'm very excited about the lizard cult, just going on record there.
This sounds very dorky, but this is also a board game podcast, so I think it's going to be appreciated. I've been going on a Cole Worley deep dive, and so I've been going back. He's the designer of Root, and so I've been going back and listening to interviews that he's done or different podcasts that he's been on, and really getting to know about him and his publishing company and how he operates. And so it's made me want to go and play all of his designs. And Root is, I think, the only one that I have played, and I have Molly House on order, but I was like, oh, I really do want to play Root, and now I want to go through his whole kind of gameography and play them all, because I think he's just such, like, it's weird, I'm getting this, like, real appreciation for his design and how he goes about designing games, and how he nerds out about history and is just really thoughtful about it. So I will join you in that game of Root, because I'm like, Cole Worley bucket list.
Yeah, and I want to be Stabby.
Okay, we're going to make you not be the raccoon with the knife.
No, I have to be.
Did he do arcs too?
Yeah, he did arcs too. So I guess I have 2 off my bucket list.
Speaking of arcs, that's my joy game. We did recently play it, the 4 of us together, and it was the first time for Angela and Reed playing the game. Or I guess Becky as well. I had played it once previously with a couple other friends, and so I've played it twice so far, and both times were very infuriating in terms of how the game ended and how I lost, but that was quickly superseded by a desire to play again and just try a different strategy and learn from my mistakes and try to implement new strategies to expand myself in the universe. And so Arcs is kind of based off of trick taking. The lead player, the person with initiative, plays a card that will allow them to determine the suit for the round. And at that point, the other players can have one of 3 options. They could just follow in the same suit or change the suit. But that aspect, that type of play is really interesting to me. The fact that it's very trick taking-esque. And it's a style of game that I'm not normally a huge fan of, with direct conflict and randomness and dice rolls. But this one, just the aesthetics and the gameplay were just top notch for me. And so I'm really looking forward to getting that back to the table.
The space game counterbalances all of your fish games that you've been getting. I am surprised. We've only played this once. Gillian's played it twice, so we have to play it a few more times for an official review that we'll end up doing. I am just so fascinated for what we learn and discover. There's also a mini campaign that goes into this, but just my first play, Gillian and I tried to set each other on fire to the detriment of the game. And we just were looking at each other like, should we stop being jerks to each other? And then we were like, no. And then we saw Becky starting to win and we said, okay, fine, we can't have Becky win. And she didn't.
And it was especially fun though, because it was almost as if you had tricked me and you snuckily rose from the ashes to win the game. When I was the one that was largely fighting Becky off and keeping her at bay, you ended up going through and just beating us quite handily. Like, you scored a ton of points at the very last round.
Well, I'm excited about talking when we do that review, because I think that was Becky's game to lose, and then she did.
Yeah, she chose the wrong ambition.
She chose, as they say in Indiana Jones, you chose poorly. But yeah, I'm excited to get that back to the table and see what's going on. Oh, poor Becky, we're picking on you mercilessly.
No, I should have won that game.
You should. It has an asterisk
that
says...
No, there's no asterisk. It's just a note.
Just a note. Becky should have won. The game that I am excited about that I have not played but has kind of also been on my bucket list, but I didn't really think I wanted to get it because I didn't know who I would play it for. And I'm always thoughtful about who am I going to play this game with. And the homies didn't seem like the best fit. And then Gillian said something offhand that he would maybe play it. And I was like, oh my God, I'm getting it immediately. It's called Baseball Highlights 2045, the Bases Loaded edition. It came out from Eagle Griffin Games recently. And I just thought I would read to you guys the description because I have no idea how it plays. But I freaking love baseball. I'm such an American homer for this sport that's slow or boring, and it's more about the experience. But here's the description. American baseball was on its last legs as a spectator sport. Football had become the predominant national pastime. That is, until the year 2032, the year baseball decided to revolutionize the game and regain the throne. Starting in 2032, baseball games were shortened to 6 innings. Pitchers were encouraged to have bionic arm implants to improve their pitching. These cyborgs, or Borgs as they're affectionately known, were immediately popular and soon ruled the league. In 2041, robotic players were introduced to get more offense back into the game. These robots were similarly designed for hitters in that they were used only to bat and did not field. However, recent reports indicate fielding bots are on the way. Now, in 2045, human players are still in the game and known as naturals. So it's absolutely ridiculous. It combines robots and baseball.
I had no idea that it was a futuristic dystopian baseball.
Yeah, some of the art is really funny about, there's one, cyborg or robot who's trying to catch a ball, up high and has, rocket boosters, to get up high to grab it. So I'm excited to try that. It looks goofy, but...
Yeah, and I got the upgrade so it looks like little meeples that are running and doing things. And I really like Sporty Ball, and there aren't a lot of great sports translations into board games. Not to say that this game might be great, but just my love of the game has made it just such a weird robot playing game, I'm sure.
It's a 2-player only game, right?
It says 2 to 4, but I think it plays best at 2 because it's probably cooperative, 2 and 2, but I have to dig in and see, because the Bases Loaded edition comes with all of the expansions ever created, and I think that is way too much content. But I mean, if you're going to buy it, you might as well get everything, so you're not worried about it. Is how I rationalize it for myself. Oh, I'm so poor.
Okay, Gillian.
Finspan, published in 2025, plays 1 to 5 players. It's designed by David Gordon and Michael O'Connell. The art is by Anna Maria Martinez Jaramillo and Mesa Shoemaker. It's published by Stonemaier Games and costs $50 American. Reed, how do we play Finspan?
In the third game in the world of Wingspan, you are a marine researcher seeking to find and observe an array of aquatic life in the colorful sunlight zone, ghostly twilight zone, and pitch black midnight zone of the world's seas and oceans. In Finspan, the fish you discover over 4 weeks will generate a series of benefits as you dive deeper into the ocean. Each dive site specializes in a key aspect of expanding your research, growing your collection of fish, discovering freshly laid eggs, and hatching eggs into young and consolidating young to form schools. As you explore, you play fish designated for each zone and dive site, using resources like other cards, fish, and eggs to pay for the cards depicted on your selected fish. A fun mechanic is that some fish require eating smaller fish when you play a card on top of a fish already on your player board. The winner is the player with the most points gained from fish, eggs, young, schools, and achievements. This is meant to be a streamlined entry into the world of Wingspan, and indeed, we played the game in about 45 minutes.
Guys, how did we feel about the third entry in the Span universe? Again, every time there's an announcement, I do think it's an April 1st joke. You would have thought I would have learned with Wingspan. I absolutely did not, and I was like, fish, are they joking? No, it's real. It's sitting on the table with us. We played it. What'd you think?
Well, this was going to be the one I didn't buy. And spoiler, it's my copy that's sitting on the table, but I'm sure we'll talk about that before. Fish, not my theme in general, but surprisingly delightful.
Yeah, I'm surprised we were able to peer pressure you into getting it, since you have an aversion to nautical themes and boats, and yet this is very much a water-based game. So that was a bit surprising.
I mean, I do think we have to set the stage that we had all talked about not getting this edition, that we didn't know that fish resonated. I think some folks at the table had mixed feelings about Wormspan, and there are some mixed feelings now about Wingspan. And so we were like, we're not buying it. And then all of a sudden, Reed found a copy, accidentally released early, sent us a photo, didn't realize that it was Finspan in the photo. And so we all then peer pressured her, including Becky, that she drive back across town and buy the accidentally released copy of Finspan.
Especially Becky.
It was a group project, okay? It took all of us.
You just didn't want it in your collection. You knew that it was like maybe at the tipping point, and you were like, no, you need to buy it so I don't have to look at it.
I think when you look at, and if I just took it from the artistic perspective first before we dive into the theme and how it felt to play it, I really love the cover of the box. Like, I like the tones of it. There is a weird fish on the side that I probably didn't need to be there. But I think it's a gorgeous box cover, and I like the art. Like, the art shines in a way, and we're going to do a lot of comparison of spans, but I think I like the art on Finspan more than I liked the dragons in Wormspan, even though I don't love fish, and I love dragons more than fish, if that makes sense.
Oh my goodness, that is exactly what I was going to say, because as I said in our episode of Wormspan, I really enjoy the kind of realistic art of Wingspan, and this very much follows that same line of where it's more realistic than whimsical. And so I prefer the art in this as well to Wormspan. And both Wingspan and Finspan have a very similar art style.
Yes, it might have been a little hard to get realistic dragons, but they are a watercolor style.
That just means you didn't try hard enough to find realistic pictures of those dragons, Reed.
I actually think I would dislike Wormspan more if they were more realistic dragons.
Wow, Becky, that's a hot take. That's a hot span take.
I didn't know it'd be possible for you to dislike it more until this very moment.
I will say, look, I think all of the birds in Wingspan are beautiful. I have the fan edition extra cards as well. I think those are super cool and quirky and fun that people sent in art and that they made cards out of them. I will say, whilst I found every bird beautiful, maybe not interesting, but definitely beautiful, there are some ugly creatures in the sea, and some of them fish be real ugly.
I mean, that's just reality, unfortunately.
I know. That's why I was like, dang, the ocean be ugly sometimes.
But the ugly ones have fun facts, and that's something that I also missed from what I missed in Wormspan were fun facts on the cards. I like that they were able to bring them back on these. I read a lot of the facts out loud while we were playing. I don't think most of you were listening to me, but I was over here like, ooh, look at this fish. It does blah, 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 blah. And I was just so pleased.
I think that they got the cards right here. It was Wingspan had so much on the cards, and Wormspan, we kind of debated whether or not we liked the cards. There was a lot of white space, and it feels like these cards are very well designed, well balanced, look like, you know, scientific drawings with facts, and they're clean and very easy to read.
Yeah, and I felt like the landscape orientation helped a lot in that, just to free up a lot more space for the art, and then have the borders as the component aspect of the game.
I have two thoughts about that. Both Angela and I struggled with not seeing them, but noticing when the cards had, on the right-hand side of the card, it has a little bit of the border to say which dive site it has to be played on. And I missed it all of the games that we played. And there were multiple times where, like, Reed looked over and was like, Becky, that doesn't go there. And so then I'd have to shift and kind of fix what I had done, like getting an extra resource from that card being in the wrong dive area. So I don't know what it is about it, but for me, it just like, it just felt like, I don't know, extra decorative that I didn't notice.
Yeah, it was weird, and not all of the cards had it. So I would say the majority of cards didn't feel like they had that border. So then I wasn't paying attention to it, and it became background noise to the rest of the card. And it only affected me and you, but I definitely, that first game was like, oh no, this card I think is in the wrong spot, and we had to like go back and try and be like, okay, it's here, not here, take this back. So yeah, it was hard.
Background noise is a perfect way to describe it. I think that's how I saw it too. The other thing that I wanted to say from what Gillian and Rita just said, I set up the game the first time, and I think this game has a really weird table presence because depending on what table you play, most likely the boards are going to be too long, and so you have to kind of shift one to the side so the other one on the other side of the table is going the other way. And I don't know, like, we have a square table downstairs that used to be our main downstairs table. Is that a weird thing to say? Anyways, it's a fact. And I don't know if you could play this game on that table. So that's kind of something to consider of what your table space is.
Yeah, the boards in this game are huge in comparison to Wingspan and Wormspan. Take up a lot of space, and as you said, they need to overlap and be kind of staggered versus directly across from each other.
Yeah, because your boards and all the other games are horizontal, and these ones are long and vertical. And I think it's cool looking. Like, I was like, oh, is Finspan just going to be the vertical Wormspan or Wingspan? No. It makes a lot of sense why you have the board that way. It is just really unique and awkward. Like, my board was my little, because you use a diver to do the actions. So my divers were in a spot, and Reed was across from me that her divers were in the same spot. So we were like, wait, who's diver? Wait, what's going on here? Give me my people. So it was a little awkward just because we had to squish a little, and we had a really long table. But
talking about the divers, what do you guys have to say about the color choices and player colors?
I think it's super weird. There's a magenta and there's a teal, which I feel like both of those stand out from the boards pretty well. And then there's a very dark blue that almost looks black, and that kind of blends in with the deeper diving areas. And then there's a sparkly gold one. Like, sparkly. Why aren't they all sparkly? Or why is one sparkly? I was the sparkly one, obviously.
I also got confused because I played the magenta the first game, and I didn't really like it because it's kind of too purpley of a magenta for me. I wanted a neon pink, and so then I switched with white, but then gave Angela the neon or the magenta, and so that's part of why I was probably taking your diver.
Not the board,
like,
just
it might have been me.
yeah, I think I know Stonemeyer puts a lot of thought into every piece of the production that they do. So I'd be interested why they chose that. I didn't mind the colors. I liked the color palette overall, from the board to the cards to the player pieces. The board has kind of like and Reed is about to go off on the board, but almost like a photorealistic quality that's a little muted but very bright. I don't know. It gives me shades of like 90s scuba brochure.
It makes me feel like a dolphin girl in middle school in like 1992 would have this poster up, and there's no aesthetic that I would rather not look at than that.
That's a great description.
Yeah, please, everybody, stop what you're doing and Google 90s dolphin girl aesthetic. I don't know what it'll come up, but it's spot on, Reed.
Sorry. I was like, I need to breathe.
But wait, but did you...
So upset that you had to...
But did you enjoy the aesthetic of Dolphin Girl? Or I didn't get whether you liked it or not.
No. I lost it. I think that for me, I can handle the entire game, but those player boards were just so, like, irrationally upsetting to me. And I don't like the way that they look, but I love the cards. I absolutely love the schools of fish and the young, which are like neon red and neon yellow. And I'm like, why didn't they do that? Like, why didn't they have more energy in the color?
Yeah, components are... I want to say, are they my favorite components? So I think they're my favorite cardboard components. So when you get them, they're big, they're chunky, they're very simplified pictures. We played with the upgraded components, but I thought the cardboard components that come with the base game are actually really cool.
I agree with that, but I want to touch the eggs, which is a weird thing to say, but they don't feel how they look like they feel, but they still feel nice.
I would like a little more squish. Like
Yes.
just a little more squish.
I feel like they should have been similar to the berries in Everdell.
Exactly.
Ooh.
Yeah.
One thing about the cardboard components, which we didn't talk about when we played, is that when you get an egg and you hatch it, you flip it over. And so I think that that's really cool that you experience that, whereas when you have the upgraded bits, you're swapping them out. So it doesn't feel as hatching or emerging from there.
Mm-hmm. I also appreciated the upgraded bits because these are like squishy ball eggs. One, if you drop them, they just kind of immediately roll away and good luck finding it. But two, they tried to prevent that because one side is flat, so the eggs do rest nicely on your player board. And I was like, oh, thank goodness. I don't... Because the berries in Everdell are like, good luck, deuces, I'm out.
I think that this game being $50 is very affordable for what feels like a very substantial high-end game. I do think that they could have just done the upgraded bits as a part of it and charged a little bit more. So it's hard to have a game where you're like, well, of course I would need the upgraded bits, and I guess you don't. But in reality, those squishy eggs are going to be calling everybody.
Yeah, I know, but this is the one time where I like disagree because I really like the cardboard bits, and Gillian has gotten us used to the finer things in life, but it's weird that this is the one time where I was like, actually, I think gameplay sense, it makes, like you said with the cardboard, like flipping it over is an experience unto itself. So I'm happy that there's a base game, especially when we look at things like Everdell that are removing those components so they can have a cheaper base game to make it more approachable, and then people can upgrade off of that. I think just games are expensive, so having an entry level point that people can afford. And Reed, you're a Stonemeyer champion human, so you get, is it 15%?
20% actually.
Wow.
And then you also, I think, get early access to some things. But I did not get early access to this game because I was so on the fence about buying it that I didn't pre-order it in time. But I did get the squishy eggs, that upgrade set, and it came the day that it was supposed to be released, which was really exciting.
Yeah, I would agree with Angela that this is a game where I feel like the cardboard components would be adequate. The upgrades didn't really blow me away, and I think it was because the eggs weren't as squishy as I thought they should be.
Yeah, I think that the squishy eggs were, yeah.
So, word of wisdom, if you like really, really squishy eggs, don't get the upgrade. If you like a firm but jelly feeling hard egg, this upgrade is for you. Man, this podcast gets real weird. Components aside, art aside, gameplay, what did you think of how this game played within the whole part of the spans, and what did it fill your cup up with joy?
Wow, I have so many thoughts on this that I didn't really realize that I had. This game felt almost simultaneous play to me. Like, the turns were so fast once we got going, and we were all doing things and saying what we were doing, that we still did take turns, but it didn't seem like it necessarily had to be as such.
I really appreciated that during each of our turns, once we hit a point where it was like, oh, I'm just doing my stuff, like we said to the next person, go ahead, it's your turn. And for me, I would then take a while to make some decisions, and it would already be my turn again. And I'd be like, oh, I didn't look up to see what I'm doing next. Sorry, guys. But it was nice being able to just like keep it moving, which I did really enjoy this game. And I don't know if I would enjoy it as much if it weren't as snappy.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that just ties to how much more straightforward it is and streamlined it is compared to Wingspan and Wormspan. You don't have, say, the shared resource pool that you do in Wingspan that tended to slow the game down. You didn't have, even though it's largely regarded as a great thing in the Dragon Guild, you don't have that here, so you're not going up a track that other players are also moving along. And so there's that aspect. Really the main interactive component are there some fish that will give people resources or allow them to lay eggs on fish. But then beyond that, it's just looking for the end of week objectives, essentially, to see who scores the best on those. And even then, it's fairly forgiving in this. You basically score victory points based on whatever you achieve as part of that objective. But then whoever gets the most just gets an additional 3 victory points. So it's not as for lack of a better term, skewed towards the people that do better as it was in Wingspan and Wormspan. So I think all of that kind of streamlinedness allows it to be more snappy and allows you to have simultaneous play.
Speaking of those end of week goals, I really like that you have a few options for week 1, week 2, week 3, and then week 4. They're all separate, because there are definitely times in Wingspan where you'd get like the egg one the first time for the first scoring goal, and you're like, okay, well, I need to do other things, like this would be better near the end of the game. And so I appreciate that they kind of scaled the goals with where you're at in that stage of the game.
And we didn't play this side, but there is a beginner guide which has static goals for the 4 weeks, and we played with the variable goals.
One of the things that's different about this one that they've changed in every game is the number of turns that you take per round. Here it's static, so I think that helps with the snappy play. In Wingspan, I'm often like, because your turns are decreasing at the very end, for me, it can get repetitive because you don't have enough turns to do like a really big action. So your last 2 or 3 turns, you're just laying eggs or getting off your engine that just tucks more cards. And that can feel unsatisfying. And then in Wormspan, you have the ability to gain coins, which give you extra turns, and that can be a negative because if you're me, who constantly goes for the coin strategy, it means I have a lot of turns in round 3 and then cards that allow me to take more turns in round 4, which can feel like your friends are done and they're like, when are you finishing? And whilst that is a good strategy, I can see my friends getting annoyed around every table I've played at. So I appreciate that Finspan is like, here's the number of turns. Go forth and play. And I think that lends to a consistent playtime experience. Also around the amount of time it takes to play. Once you get it down, because it's so streamlined, the reason that you can just tell your friend, oh, I'm just doing this thing, you can go, is because it might be that the action you took allowed you to draw 3 cards. And then you're just evaluating your 3 cards. Like, nobody needs to watch you evaluate your 3 cards, and if we all trust that we're not cheating, you can just go to the next player and you're like, cool. So it's like, I just loved how quick it was. It didn't feel like it dragged.
I mean, there was some cheating, but we reined you guys.
Well, that's because Becky and I couldn't see the colors.
I liked the discard pile, how we each had our own discards, and that meant that you could give up a fish or pay with a card for a fish. That was a confusing way of saying it, but instead of using food resources, as we mentioned, playing a card can require resources like other cards and eggs and young. And you didn't have to say goodbye to a fish you're really interested in for a long time. You could just put it in your discard pile. And then there were cards that triggered you being able to go through your discard pile. And I actually really like that and would strategically pull out fish that I knew that I had wanted to.
I also like that the egg mechanic felt more alive. Like literally you're hatching things, so I guess it does feel alive. But you didn't just lay eggs to pay for stuff. You could, again, eggs are a resource that you pay for things similar to Wingspan, but being able to hatch them and then the mechanic to move those fish so that they were from young, and then when 3 young come together, they form a school, and then you can't break that school up. It just scores you 6 points at the end of the game. So if you needed that young fish to score as a resource for something, you had to be very thoughtful about when you decided to merge them. I don't know. It just added something interesting to what is not always the most interesting mechanic in the Span games.
I also thought that the end game fish were really interesting in that they would sometimes provide you an end game goal in and of themselves. So like, oh, you have 2 young on this fish. At the end of the game, you get 6 points. That was a really fun little twist towards the end of the game, trying to maneuver your young to get onto a space. There are also other ones that were at the end of the game, you get to lay eggs on all the fish in the blue column, for instance. And so that was another strategic thing as you go along, like I'm going to use all my eggs in the blue column. So I make sure that they replenish at the end of the game. And so I liked the end game fish in this, I think a bit more than Wingspan, honestly. It felt like they were all like maybe fewer and far between, or maybe I just didn't see very many of them. But I enjoyed that aspect a lot.
I had 2 endgame fish that allowed me to plant, build, place other fish. And so I was leaving my spots available for them. And it was really neat to be like, oh, I get an extra turn to do this. And they would trigger something else.
I absolutely love that every time you were... so the fish go down in levels. There's fish that are up. It's kind of like Wingspan, I guess, or Wingspan. You play cards in 3 different levels. And so every time Reed played a fish, she'd say, I'm building a fish. And I was like, I don't think that's science, Reed. But it happened every time. It's like, I'm building a fish. I'm building a fish. So I thought, 1, that was really cute. And then 2, I loved that they continued this thing from Wingspan that wasn't in Wingspan, is that there are things that are pre-printed on your board to give you the assist. So in Wingspan, it's, your first cave is built out for you. Well, in Finspan, you get 3 fish across different, like those layers that you can use. And by playing a fish on top of a fish, that fish eats it. And it counts as a tucked card, but it gives you something as kind of a beginner baseline to help you go. And then just the fact that fish that were bigger could be placed on top of smaller fish that maybe fulfilled an objective for that card or was an end round goal. I just thought that was a clever mechanic that felt different than just blindly tucking cards behind a card. It like had a thematic tie to it.
I was very sad I didn't get the great white. You got it in both games.
It was so cool. I love the great white shark so much. He gave me so many points.
I did like the printed fish on the board. I think it's necessary, but it took me until almost the end of the second game to really realize that those are fish on there. Because when you're also diving down to get resources, you have to have a fish in that certain lightness area. What are the zones? Thank you. And so if you don't have a fish in there, then you can't activate it. But those pre-printed ones count for activation. And there were a couple of times where I skipped it, and Reed was paying attention to me, thankfully, and was like, I think you should have another egg. And I was like, why? And I don't know if you guys realized me cheating again.
Oh gosh, as Becky's confessing to, she takes her deep sea.
Oh, her deep sea did.
I was going to say
cheating.
C, and then I was like, I don't know what comes after that.
Becky, tell us.
Deep sea deviousness.
Well, there were times where the opposite happened, where I was just so in the flow of diving down and getting all of those rewards that then there's one area where you have to have one card in order to get that zone benefit. And so I gave it to myself a couple of times, and then I realized oh, I actually don't get to activate that. There's not a fish in this column, even though it's in the row. So then I had to put those resources back. Quietly.
You don't want to call out your cheating to the rest of us.
Well, it just felt silly that I missed it, but I feel like you just get in the flow, especially when there are fish that are giving you benefits there too.
I mean, I did tell everybody 5 seconds ago that playing quickly depends on trust, that someone's not cheating.
I fixed it.
I do really love in Wingspan the Dragon Guild and how it's a race. And part of me wishes that they had kind of kept that interactive. That's one of the more interactive elements of the Span realms. But this game got to the table so fast because there wasn't a lot of setup. I mean, there were components. It is a big game. It's a hefty game. But it wasn't fiddly to be setting everything up. I think it's like your player board maybe has 3 things that you put on it, and then there's the collaborative goal piece, and then you have your cards, and that's about it.
Yeah, I actually appreciated that the lack of additional resources you're dealing with. You really just have the young, the eggs, and the cards, and those were all you really had to worry about in terms of playing fish. You didn't have to worry about meat, dragon milk, or butter, or anything like that. And so there were a lot fewer pieces, like collectively, that you had to tinker with.
I do wish this game came with more cards to start with. The first 2 games, I saw a lot of the same fish because I was excited about how they look and their fun facts. And the 3rd game, I did see several more new fish, so it was exciting. But after the 2nd game, I was like, ooh, how many cards are in Wingspan? And then Reed told me.
It was a lot that I don't remember now.
I was like,
over 200 probably.
It felt like, I was like, Reed's going to know right off the top of her head, and she's going to say it again. It's going to be magical. And then I just stared at you.
Becky, it's not Terraforming Mars.
I know. 397. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Well, yeah, it's a significant difference how many cards were in Wingspan versus Finspan. And I do think it would benefit from starting with more cards. And so, I mean, I do feel like I am already excited for an expansion for this game.
And on the Stonemaier website, they were talking about how there is a fix if you go through all of the cards in the draw piles, that you're supposed to shuffle all of the discard piles together to create a new pile. But they're actively working on it. I saw a survey today that you can nominate a fish or a sea creature to be involved in the game and future expansions. So I think that they understand that even though it's a moderately sized deck game, then it needs to be a little bit bigger.
Yeah, weirdly that we got very close to the end of the deck, I think almost every time we played, which is weird for a big deck game. And I don't know, I think because you pay cards for resources, it allows you to see more of the deck. Like in Arc Nova, you're never seeing the bottom of that deck. And then when you play with the Arc Nova expansion, you will literally never see 3/4 of the cards you play with. But here you got to rotate through them so quickly, although I did get the shark twice. So you know what? Fate is what it is.
One thing I really appreciated about the game is the simplicity and setup, as Reed mentioned earlier. But there's a set of starting fish that you have, and you just shuffle those up, deal 2 to each player, and then you add 3 random on top of that. There's no drawing 5, choosing 2 of this and 3 of this resource or what have you. And so that was a nice, easy setup in comparison to the other Span games.
You can mark my words so you can remind me when I say the complete opposite after the expansion comes out, but I really hope they don't add any new mechanics. I just want more cards. I don't want them to go like Wingspan, where every expansion has a whole new different mechanism. I just want more of what it is.
I would say you probably are fine if they give us more end of week goals.
I was just gonna say
Yeah,
that.
I
Yeah,
was like, that's
exactly.
great. Just
But
give us
what
more of
about
we have.
bottom feeders? Are you okay if they like introduce another animal in?
Yeah, but just like don't give me a new resource. Don't give me between round actions. Like keep it how it is. Just add more fish and varieties of sea creatures.
Oh, they're definitely gonna add plankton at some point. Then you have whales. It's gonna be great.
Oh, whales!
But
that
they're
would be
mammals,
cool.
technically.
There are
Oh,
whales. There are whales. Yes. I got a whale.
Oh, did
I got
you?
the
No.
same whale twice.
No, you got the whale shark. That's different.
That's
than
a
whale.
shark breed. That's not a whale.
I thought I got a whale.
Girl.
I didn't finish reading the card. Okay. I don't even know what I was going to say next. Oh, I do know that one of your favorite expansions, I'm putting these words into your mouth. You did not say that this is one of your favorite, but an expansion you've commented on regularly is Apiary, how it gives you more stuff and not different mechanics. And so that's what you're hoping for.
Yes, exactly. I do really like the apiary expansion. They did a great job. They didn't just add more of the same in a way. Like they took the same mechanics but then found new ways to give you like resources, I guess, or like the ability to move bees or not bump bees, but turn the numbers up.
Yeah, crank them numbers up, girl. Crank them bee butts up.
Augment your bee buds.
Yes.
Well, it's a question we always ask, and now you'll have 3 spans to choose from is, 1, who is this game for? Who are you playing it with? And where does this kind of rank in your span verse of the 3 that we have?
For me, and I think a lot of people would agree that this is the most streamlined version of the Span games, or streamlined in the line of Span games. And as a result, I feel like it makes it the easiest to table for folks that are newer to board games. I mean, that was largely true for Wingspan as well. I mean, that was a game that garnered a lot of fanfare from typically not hardcore board gamers, and this follows that same trajectory. Whereas Wormspan was more complex than Wingspan, this is less complex than Wingspan, and I honestly found myself kind of enjoying it in between the two. So like Wingspan is still my favorite of the games, Finspan second, and Wormspan third. And yeah, how about you all?
Because I only want to play Wingspan once-ish a year, just because I've played it so many times, I'm not good at it, I never win that game, and I'm just kind of over it. Even though I think it's beautiful and I think it does a great job, I would have to say Finspan is my favorite because I love how quick it plays. Wormspan is definitely my least favorite, which I feel bad saying, but this game was really joyful. I had fun. I was like, ooh, are we going to play again? And sorry, Jamie, but when it was announced and I saw everyone on Instagram like, oh my gosh, Finspan, I'm so excited. Fish is going to be so cute. I was like, what is wrong with all of you? Why are you excited about fish? But it's good. I like it a lot.
You were a fish hater.
I really was. It was like when you said it was like an April Fool's joke about Wormspan. We're like, okay. But it's adorable.
I mean, some of those fish are hella ugly.
No, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And like the seahorse you were talking about on the side of the box.
I mean, that's nature.
Man, ugly nature needs to go hide in a hole.
Wow.
Other than the player board, which again, I do not like the aesthetics of this game.
Would it help if it were a neoprene mat?
No. In fact, there was a survey that was like, do you want a mat? And I was like, no, I don't want a mat at all. It'll probably just be brighter, but not neon bright. Just like.
The neoprene would be so thematic though, because you're diving to the bottom in your neoprene diving suit. Is that what they're made out of?
Absolutely not.
No.
Dang
No,
it.
not
Okay,
even close.
Angela, you gotta cut that. You can't let me sound like an idiot.
No, I bet
That's probably
Becky, that's
staying in.
nature.
No, Angela, no.
I think that they use like a more sustainable version than I think it's like a rubber derived thing.
Rubber makes sense, but isn't neoprene?
But don't put any of this on record because I'm just making it up.
Okay. Reed,
Yeah, none of it.
Did you?
I did have a thought at some point. I don't know. Here's my thought.
What's your favorite span?
You silent.
That hamster died immediately.
Wow. Yeah.
Restarter.
Do you guys hear that?
realistic.
It's like the machine. Yeah.
But it was really just her brain. So for me, this is a hard one. Becky, I'm in the same boat. I don't love Wingspan. I never win it. I don't think that's why I don't like it. I just feel like the end of the game is not my favorite, and I don't love how much work it takes if the dice rolls aren't there for you to get resources. So it's always been like, I think Wormspan was better than Wingspan, but my favorite thing about Wormspan is the Dragon Guild, and playing with our other game group like a few months ago was one of those games where I just had so many turns it felt really awkward at the end of the game. And so I don't love it for that. I do think Wormspan just ekes out ahead of Finspan a little bit because of its complexity level, but I'm more likely to constantly be playing Finspan than I am Wormspan. I just how quick it is and how snappy the turns can be, and if you have a good game group, it's also 1 to 5 players, so it has that expanded amount of players. So our other game group will love it. I think this is a game you could play with lots of other people, and the fish are interesting enough, even though Becky hates fish and all animals. So yeah, I think it's like 1 and 1A. And then, like, really far down list at 74 is Wingspan for me.
This is the only span game I think Becky will actually play.
No, I'll play Wingspan once a year-ish.
What about Wormspan?
Once every other year.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, really? You don't like it that much? Interesting.
It's because of Angela.
I'd ruin other people's experiences by being so good. It's not my fault.
Or cheating so well.
Well, I just take all of the coins and I put them in my pocket. I suddenly have coins.
I knew it.
You just have coins up your sleeve, just rolling down.
When we talked about Wormspan versus Wingspan, Gillian was talking about the elegance of Wingspan, and I think that really stuck with me as, like, Wingspan feels like one of my earlier, crunchier games where I loved it. I dove in. I really played it a lot and enjoy the act of playing and moving whichever direction. I can't remember now that you move those little blocks. And I think that I love that game. I love it enough that I bought Wormspan, and now I was pressured into buying Finspan, which I'm glad that you all like it, because if you didn't like it, I would hate you all. But I think that Finspan is just so approachable. I would way rather teach this game to someone than any of the other games. The last time we played Wormspan, our friend Ashley played it with us with our other game group, Angela and my other game group, and it was like 3 hours, and shout out to Ashley for winning that game, but it was a little painful, and I'm like, oh, I don't think that I want this experience to be 3 hours, and so to have a digestible version of it that's 45 minutes feels pretty good.
Thank you for listening to Board Game Homies. Drop us a line on our Instagram page or newly created Blue Sky account at Board Game Homies. Bye-bye.
Oh, geez, now it's all warm in here. It's like overheating.
You can see the smoke signals like coming through. Asks normal question.
Okay, to be fair, I
hadn't thought about that question before this point.
What?
I thought that there was just an assumption that Wingspan was the best one, and then it's how we feel about playing them.
No, you said
absolutely
you said
not.
Wormspan
No
when you
way.
preferred Wormspan over
No,
Wingspan.
I like the Dragon Guild.
But you like Wingspan more.
I do like Wingspan.
Okay, well then
Oh.
now you need to put your thoughts together and say which ones you want to do.
Are you going to make a fish sandwich or are you going to make a fish fillet? What are you doing?
Okay, while Reed processes, for the record, neoprene is used in wetsuits, so...
No, I knew that. The question was, is it used in the player mats?
Yeah,
No?
the player mats are neoprene.
Yeah, neoprene playmats.
I knew that neoprene wetsuits. I know that.
I thought you guys were.
I
I thought you guys were
No.
making fun of me for saying neoprene was used
I
in
was.
the diving suits.
I was.
Oh,
Dang.
no,
Oh
I
my
know it
goodness.
is.
These are for Becky. You will have your moment if anybody makes it to the end that you were actually right. I'm going to answer because Reed is taking
lost
too long.
it.